What's going on, everybody? It's CryptoVision here, back again with Monday's edition. In today's video, we're going to be checking out ADA per subscriber request. So if you like today's video, hit that like button, subscribe for more. Let's get into it. So we got ADA here on the weekly chart. ADA definitely looks similar to XLM, a little bit of a bigger 1-2, if I'm being honest, right? This area through here. I do believe that as of right now, right, you got some sort of, you can count, if you count the wick lows, right? If you count the wick lows, you could say that, this is your 1-2, you got a 3, you got a 4, you got a 5. Okay, you come down, so that's your first wave. You come down for a second wave, that's your second. The structure actually isn't here on the weekly for a third wave, but that's your most impulsive wave. That's for sure your third. In terms of this whole entire fourth wave, it is the most brutal, right? Because most people, the reason why fourth waves are so brutal is because after this, right, after that, everybody's eyes are on crypto now. Everybody's eyes are on crypto. Everybody's eyes are on an asset, right? After a third wave, everybody's like, oh, here we go. We're going to pull back, then we're going to go, right? So the fourth wave is going to have so many fake outs because people are trying to get in, right? People are trying to get in, trying to get in, trying to get in, trying to get in, trying to get in down through here, trying to get in, right? People are trying to get in at areas and then are, with leverage, right? And then are stopped out. You get in through here, you're stopped out. You get in through here, you're stopped out. You get in through here, you're stopped out. If you're not taking profits, right? So I do believe this is a fourth wave. This right here doesn't look like a B wave. That just looks, that's that one day where Trump announced, strategic, no, not even strategic Bitcoin reserve. It was digital asset, some kind of digital asset reserve, and ADA, XRP, HBAR, QNT, Algo. There's a couple Chainlink was in there, I believe. There's a couple, right? And it shot everything up. But I don't want to look at that, right? This looks like your A, your B, and you're coming down for your C for your final wave, right? You got like your 1-2, you have like your 3, right? I know it's going to be very hard for Fibonacci levels because of, this is Binance. Coinbase is probably different. Everything's going to be different, right? And so, you got your 1-2, you got your 3, you got your 4, and you got your 5, right, on the weekly. So overall, that's what I got for ADA. Let's go ahead and see, some levels and what we're doing, right? So for this 1-2, I just want to kind of check it out, right? Check it out. If this is, your 1-2, something through there. Your 2-2-7-2. So, your third wave tried to reach. It did reach up to your 2-6-1-8. That's a very sufficient third wave. Very sufficient third wave. Your fib retracement from the low to the high of this. We can use this. I know it could be an overshooting B wave, but it's all good. You come down, right? Even if you take this high. If you take this high, you come down to your 382. If you take this overshooting wave, right? If you so please, right? It's because you got like your 1-2, your 3, 4, 5, and that's your third wave, right? And so that's definitely a possibility. I'm not gonna rule that out. I'm not too nitpicky right now with fib levels. At least I can be through here, but once we get to the fiasco we've been in, right? I don't have to tell that to you. It's been a freaking circus, right? So let's go ahead and let's take this high because I like the level it hit. I do. I'm biased, right? That is definitely a truncated fifth. Not a very powerful fifth. You get stopped out. You just get rejected at your 786, and then you try to reach up. You couldn't even close above your 618. You did close above, right? You closed one candle above, but not even a full candle. I guess a full candle, but full body was up there, but it's not something that looks very pretty. So either way, you try to shoot for the 1-to-1 extension, right? This is where you try to shoot for. But truncated fifth, it still got 5 up, and through this 1-2 setup, where did the low go? All right, this 1-2, and the low came down to your right below your 786, right below your 786. You tried to reach for your 886. Okay, so pretty deep retracement, if I'm being honest, pretty deep. You did bounce off your 786, you lost it, you kind of fighting it, fell right below it and then went. So pretty deep, if I'm going to be honest. You tried to find some support at the 618, you really couldn't, right? So it it sold off pretty hard, which is not, it's not. I just, I don't want to say it's normal, but for crypto, at least for this cycle, it's been pretty normal to have some harsh pullbacks, right? So let's go through here for this 1-2 setup. Where did this third wave go? This is a perfect third wave, right? Perfect third wave. You got above your 1272, but you shot up and you tried to, you couldn't close above it, but you reached above it. Your 1618, sufficient. The one thing I'm not really enjoying or liking is, where is the structure of this, right? I mean, I guess you could say, no, I guess you could say this is like a 1-2-3 here. That's like your 1-2, right? You could say that, right? You got a low, you got a high, your low didn't retrace. You got a 1-2. But where's your fifth wave on this, right? Is this your fifth wave? That doesn't look like a fifth wave, right? That doesn't. Maybe, another truncated fifth. You did it over here. You did it over here. Maybe you did it right here as well. But regardless, this, I do believe that this is a third wave. Okay, so we'll take this low through here. We'll take this low to that high, and we'll see where we're at in terms of a retracement, right? In terms of a retracement. And it's not going to factor in the October 10th retracement, right? It's not going to factor that in just because, it's a wick, right? It did come down. It did take this low right here too. So that's kind of nice. But, just like down through here, right? Remember down through here, right? If we're taking this, wait, it was right here. Yep, this low to this high. Right, you closed a couple times below the 786 on the weekly. Right, closed, got below it, got above it, but you were playing around under and right above it for about 12 weeks, right? For about 12 weeks. Did you ever get below the 886? You did not. So this is a deeper retracement. So this is a deeper retracement, right? Overall, this is. I would say for us to start to get bullish, right? So now we're going to get into moving forward, right? Moving forward. Okay, we still need a 1-2 setup. Most people think you're just going to go straight up. You're not going to just go straight up. You're going to need a setup, right? You're going to need a big setup. I don't like, this crossing down through here doesn't look the greatest, if I'm being honest. Doesn't look the greatest. You did it over here. And where were you? Right here. And then you dropped another 35%, right? You dropped another 35%. Is there another example of this? Maybe during, look at this. Look at this. This thing dropped after this. This thing dropped, 61%. But overall, from there, it dropped 78%, right? I mean, ADA dropping 78% from here. That'll take you down through here. That'll take you down to about 8 cents. That would be insane, right? That would be insane. I would say that, as far as the structure goes, right, this was during a phase where the sell-off, right? Let's go ahead and look at, RSIs, right? Let's go ahead and look at RSIs. Where was this at? This was up through here. Let's go vertical. Right there, my purple vertical line, right? You were down low, right? Similar to actually right through here, similar to through here, right? Similar to through here. But this happened really. This really did happen after a retracement. You see this retracement and then a rejection, right? You see that rejection and retracement, right? We're looking for a if this does come up through here, right, this 65-cent area, right, and then rejects, then you're going to look at, some downside numbers. And we can go through and add that In terms of the Fu Manchu, the Fu Manchu is relatively similar, right? So the dailies look similar. Not great, but the dailies do provide a just straight up a bearish scenario. The fact that this, let's see where this has gone, right? From this 1272 is at 37 cents. I do want to add some, we're going to add some lines through here, this 82-cent mark. Pardon me. This 1272 is at 28 cents. That would be the 1272 extension of the A wave, right? So that could be definitely a possibility. I like how that 618 lines up. That 0.5 lines up pretty well. Let's drag this down right through here. And this is on the weekly chart, by the way, too. So this is on the weekly chart. I'm going to go put on the 10 on the weekly as well. This has, yeah, this has like the low. This has the low taking out everything. I don't think that's the case. I think, you can't, I don't think this has to be, you can't close down below through here. So I'm going to add one more through here. Well, if I say that's the 1, 2, so it's right through here. You cannot close below. It's pretty much, this is the line in the sand, right? So if you close below 40 cents, I do think that, this whole structure will be invalidated. Everything. I mean, almost everything will be invalidated. All right? If you close below, on a weekly chart, if you close below 40 cents, right? If you close below 40 cents, it'll all be invalidated. So, I mean, you're at 39.8 cents. So that's an area, right, that I would definitely highlight, right? Definitely highlight to make sure, hey, this is the line in the sand, right? This is where, I'm betting that, we bounce from. I do want to put something a little bit closer. This 50 cent, I don't know about that one. It was some support, the 618. I'm trying to find areas that, I know this Fu Manchu, or the fib levels are going to be a little bit wonky, right? A little bit wonky just because of the the sell-off in October, right? The freaking dreaded sell-off in October. But we're going to have a lot of resistance levels going up. Okay? So that's kind of what I got for, going up. There is a larger gap through here. But in order for us to even think about being bullish, right, you need to have 5 waves up, right? Something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something through here. I need to find a certain level through here that makes sense, right? That's not just a random area through everything. I know I don't like taking that fib right there. I really don't. But it lines up perfect, like straight up. It lines up perfect with that 618. It lines up perfect with the close on the weekly. Yeah, there is a lot of resistance. Not even resistance, just levels of interest, right? So these are going to be levels of interest, right? So how the channel works is we are at 41 cents. So if we close below 39, we're targeting 28. Right? And in theory, if we're targeting 28, we're targeting, like, if I'm being honest, if you're targeting 28, you're targeting down through here. That's just what we're at, right? And this whole setup is invalidated. Alt season, altcoins, right? I don't even say alt season. Altcoins would be pushed back for a couple months. That's kind of the predicament we're in for this week coming up. Okay, so in terms of levels, so we are at 41. So the next target is 50 cents, and you can tell that these are fairly close, right? Fairly close. In order for us to think bullish, right? This 67 is going to be huge. 67. I know that the meme out there is probably going to drive people crazy, but it is where this third wave kind of found that fourth wave, and you need to come back up here. There is a lot of your moving averages are right there as well. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some targets of the upside. Right, we got through the bullish, we got through the boring stuff. If this structure stays intact, right, a big if, right? This has to be, you know, see, I don't really want to take this low. That's the thing. I don't really want to take this low. I'm going to take this low and just be more conservative. First area that we need to get above, right? First area that, you know, could show signs of resistance is $1.26. But then we're going to get into some cool numbers, right? So you got $1.26. This 1618 for that third wave is at $2.18. And if, right, we did reach up on the 2272 on the first wave, if that is, you know, something that we're looking for the, you know, for the foreseeable future, you know, this 291 level is something that, you know, you could reach for. And then I don't know about $5. $5 is a little bit ambitious, right? A little bit ambitious. But this 330 is something that you could definitely, I definitely could see ADA hitting. So there's some levels to the upside that, you know, ADA could hit. I do want to check out this RSI on the 10. I like bouncing around it sometimes and seeing what where you're at the RSI for 10. All right, come back to it. You're oversold on the RSI, right? So let's compare a different RSI level, because there's so many things you could do. All right, so you're oversold on the 10. So through here, when you were coming down, you weren't even oversold yet, right? You weren't oversold yet. This, you're oversold, right? So you're down through here. I just want to see the times that you were, you know, oversold in this area. What did you do? How did you interact? All right, there is, you know, a little bit of confluence, but most of it you get a little bit lower. This you got a little bit lower before you did a little run up. Through, you didn't get there. Through here, a little run up, right? It was more so a relief rally. Nothing crazy. From the low to the high, you went up 47%. I mean, you know, 47% through here would be, you know, 47% would be 61 cents. It'd be that 61 cent level. So just right above there. So, you know, there is some retracement levels. What about the Fu Manchu? All the times, I mean, you had so much more bullish divergence building through here. You did have more bullish divergence, I will say. I got to point out both sides, right? You did have way more bullish divergence through here. That led to a, you know, nothing. That led to nothing, right? You had to wait for weeks and weeks, right? You had to wait for, you know, from this bullish divergence forming, you had to wait, you know, like almost a little over a year and a half. So, but overall, this RSI is at a low, right? So you're expecting a retrace, and then you see how you interact with that retracement level. Is, you know, overall, is the chart bearish? Yes, the chart does look bearish. Most do, right? Most look bearish, but I do believe that we are going to see a rally this week, whether it be a relief rally, whether you come up to that 61 cent, 67 cent. That's going to be the dangerous part. Right? Right now, it's kind of dangerous, but you're oversold. You've been oversold. It's during the retracement, right? It's during the retracement. Do you get a harsh rejection and then you come down for a lower low? That's definitely a possibility, right? That's definitely a possibility. You're coming up to, you know, areas of resistance. And so, but with the, you know, QE starting, well, not technically QE, but QT ending, and monetary policy shifting towards risk on assets, right? The Fed is going to start pumping $500 billion a month into the economy. And so what that's going to do is that's going to increase the amount of cash in the economy, and that's going to decrease the value of cash, which will increase thus risk on assets, things that are compared or relative to cash, right? So, you know, when you measure, you know, a gallon of milk to cash, right? If cash keeps, you know, printing, right, there's more cash in the system, typically a gallon of milk will go up in price, not because the milk is thus more valuable, it's just the cash you're using is less valuable. That's kind of how inflation works, right? So in theory, right, this does look like it wants to bounce on the 10 RSI. You know, there's some work to do for sure. Not out of the woods yet. Before I log off, before we get done with this, I do want to check out the daily just real quick. I hope these are all back on the daily. They're not. I'm going to put these all on the daily, and we'll go ahead and look. All on the 4 hour, but not the daily. Great. That's fun. And we'll leave these up, and I'll come back maybe at the end of the week. I'll circle back. I like to, keep myself accountable, see what the markets are doing. It's Monday, so probably I have, I've got a lot of requests coming in, but I will try to get back to this possibly on Thursday or Friday. So towards the end of the week, all right, towards the end of the week. In terms of the daily chart, I mean, you haven't been this oversold. You haven't been this oversold since, let's see, since through here, right? Through here, February, right? From February, and then you found a rally. What was it sustained? No, but you found a rally of 128%. Where else? Where else? We're way oversold through here. You found a small rally. Nothing too serious, right? Is this rally that we're talking about 47%, right? So that's that same setup that, bears are hoping for. This is a setup bears are hoping for right through here, right? But the thing is, it's already, you're already at the level down through here where the cross happened up through. I mean, the cross happened so far up, right? We're like speed running this, right? The cross happened way up here, and then you kind of worked your way up. I don't know how that even, right? I mean, you got to bounce through here too. 48%. So you have 48% bounces on the way down. I don't see that in ADA right now. All right, do you see that in ADA? I see that right here, but I'm not going to count this. That's just a scam. 20%. Yeah, no. So nothing else, right? This is probably like 30%, 20%, 23%. Yeah. So expecting some kind of move to the upside isn't crazy, right? But it's the sustained move that we're looking for. Let's go ahead and put this on the chart. Let's capture this last rejection. Okay, so that's kind of what you got to get above on the daily. You do have a green dot. It hasn't really amounted to much, if I'm being honest, right? And so, overall, right? Overall, ADA, you got some prices to the downside. You got some prices to the upside. You lose this 39 cent, right? We're targeting 28 to 21 cents, right? So, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but, if you're a trader, right, if you're trading this asset, you're at the bottom of a range, right? You're at the bottom of a range, and the next target would be approximately from here, 22%. Right, 22%. So overall, that's what I got for ADA. If you like today's video, please hit that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed if you like the content, so you can have these videos pop up. I will look to make an update on Thursday to see where the price is. So as always, I thank you for stopping by. I thank you for your time. Take it easy. Peace.